remanded for 14 days over court contempt. Ogun elders seek Buhari's intervention over emergence of parallel giver candidates. FG's collateral loan excites Kaduna traders. Still from there, detectives nab producer of adulterated alcoholic drink. And from the sports side of the Guardian, we'll stage World Boxing title bout in Nigeria soon. All right, so let's go to the business side. Petroleum Ministry orders indifferent to fears on tank farms proliferation. Non-oil exports suffer setback as EGG backlog hits 1.2 trillion naira. CBN Mall's mobile quote for currency traders, abusers.
Before moving on to the Vanguard newspaper today, we'd like to announce that we're streaming live on YouTube, so you can head on to YouTube right now, search for 32FM 949, click like and subscribe so you can get all the details as it's happening live from the 32FM studios. As I said earlier, you can access our YouTube page to see details, to see live updates rather coming from our 32FM studios right now. It's 32FM 949 on YouTube. Now taking the headlines from the Vanguard newspaper, Bankers Committee to introduce mobile courts to prosecute currency hackers. Let's see, Obiano Lot Buhari for suspending Nigeria Air. Imo APC governorship primary, why I refuse to run away with Gulak, says committee secretary. Why NJC dismissed 2 judges, asked 26 others to face probe. APC primaries crisis, 9 governors battle Oshiomhole, take case to Aster Rock. Primaries. Okay, let's move on away from that particular headline this morning. Federal government awards 1 billion naira for erosion control in Akwa Ibom. Ohaneze youth threatened to sink PDP over Igbo vice president. On Ondo APC towns protest disqualification of senatorial aspirant. Kwakwanso's PDP faction dismisses rumor of cancellation of primaries in Kano. PDP Presidential Nomination Convention vigil for the governors. That's a feature you can find in today's publication of the Vanguard newspaper. Ajimobi Alao Akala's relationship worsens over alleged tax evasion. Obiano commends Buhari on suspended Nigeria Air. Customs intercept 22 exotic vehicles, others worth 1.2 billion naira. European Union Nigeria trade volume hits 8.9 trillion naira. NICOM's new categorization policy unhealthy for insurance industry. Let's see, our refineries will be fully functional before 2019 ending, says Kashiku. Presidential primary, understanding Sule Lamido struggles, criminal prosecution. That's also an article you can find in today's publication of the Vanguard newspaper.
And quickly from the Nation newspaper, 2019, delegates list crisis likely at PDP convention. Spray Naira and go to jail for party or from party. Spray Naira and go to jail from party. Oshiomhole talks tough on primaries. I paid $1 million ransom to advance, says witness. Refineries will be fully functional next year, says Kachuku. NJC recommends dismissal of Justices Ofili Ajmogobia, Agbado Fisham, 12 jostles for tickets at PDP presidential convention. Chairman declares ANN not for sale. Customs seizes 2 billion naira contraband from suspected smugglers. Unijog students of Ondo origin hail Akeredolu ever responds to distress call. Oshiba just visits stall's hearing on Elza Zaki's bail. Still from there, Akwa Ibom police to probe alleged attempt on Udom. Tanker explosion. Ondo orders agency to assess damage. And PDP to pressurize presidential aspirants to step down.
And now rolling over to this day newspaper today, CBN seeks to charge MTN 15% interest on $8.134 billion refund. Kachiku now saying Buhari not against PIB. NJC recommends 2 judges for dismissal, 26 under probe. Ogun gubernatorial primaries, APC upholds victory of Dakwa Abiodun. Omoagege and Meho win parallel primaries in Delta Central Senatorial District. Tambuwal has capacity to defeat Buhari, group tells PDP. Saraki will emerge as PDP candidate, says Okupe. Let's see, constituents elect Dogara as PDP candidate for 2019 elections. Let's quickly take headlines from the Sun newspaper. FRSC proposes 50,000 naira fine for phone use on wheels. Federal government reduces cost of business registration to 5,000 naira. APC governors mount pressure on Buhari. Oshiomole. PDP alleges plots to scuttle presidential primary. Let's see if we can take 1 or 2 more headlines from here today. Okay, that should be all from today's edition of the Sun newspaper.
Why SDP agreed to coalition government with APC? Omeshore, why SDP agreed to coalition government with APC? Delta APC crisis. I remain a bona fide Delta APC leader, Omoagege. Crisis management. Buhari meets with 9 APC governors. Why 130 million Nigerians live in rented apartments? RRS boss. NJC sacks 2 judges, reports lawyer for disciplinary action. Still from there, stakeholders decry continuous closure of schools in Bayelsa, and that's owing to flood. PDP National Convention, how the zones may vote. NYSC camps of love, intrigues, escapades, and bonds. Okay, right over there. Why I donated 83 houses to the Air Force in Ibadan at Detunji. All right, still some headlines from the Premium Times today. 1 killed, many injured as rival Ebonyi APC factions clash. All refineries to be fully functional before 2019 ending. Kachuku, INEC says deadline for conduct of primaries, resolution of disputes remains October the 7th. What we discussed with Oshiomole about controversial APC primaries, governors. PDP alleges plot to abort its national convention. And NEMA names 12 worst affected states and still on flooding. Ex-Benue deputy governor picks Benue South senatorial ticket. We'll take a short break now. We'll be right back on the paper review.
Every day is another chance to do it all over again.
Give the best of starts on the break of dawn. 32 FM 94.9. From motivational
To news,
to sports and talk.
we'll give you all you need to make the best of your day.
On the break of dawn. 32 FM 94.9. 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back. It's still the paper review on 32 FM 94.9. And just for you to know, once again, that was streaming live on YouTube at 32 FM 949. On YouTube at 32 FM 949. Click on subscribe and also drop a comment on the headlines for today. Well, Oshibajo calls for action against poverty.
From the Punch newspaper, the body reads Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has expressed the need for the federal government to create ways of lifting Nigerians out of poverty. According to a statement on Thursday by Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Laolu Akonde, the Vice President spoke during a meeting of the National Economic Council's Human Capital Development Core Working Group held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, on Wednesday. NEC, which comprises all state governors and federal officials, is chaired by the Vice President. Ogunade quoted the vice president as saying government was committed to driving initiatives to accelerate human capital development in the country. He said this was important because lifting Nigerians out of poverty was a crucial agenda towards attaining intended developmental outcomes. We are joined this morning on the paper review by Austin Udumo. Austin Udumo, good morning to you.
Good morning, Abdullahi. Good morning, Tayo.
Good morning, Austin. It's good to have you around.
Thank you for having me.
I want to get your reaction on this story. Osinbajo calls for action against poverty. And before you go on with your analysis, I just want to ask you that how would you rate the current administration's performance when it comes to lifting Nigerians out of poverty?
Well, I think to rate the performance is still very close to nil. If you look at that, the way things are in the country, of course, if you look at poverty index, for example, you have to compare it to the level we were before, and some of other economic indicators and things that actually transpired to actually brought us to the level where we are now. However, I think it should be a deliberate and a conscious effort of the federal government to actually ensure that people are lifted out of poverty. That does not mean that Nigerian government will have to serve food on the table of Nigeria just like that. But when necessary enabling environment is created through economic intervention, palliatives within the economy, you discover that people will begin to do business on their own. At the end of the day, they will make ends meet. So for what the government really need to do, even in citation of project too, that is another way to actually lift people out of poverty. This government will tell you they have done a lot of intervention, social intervention, is running into billions of naira, and you begin to wonder until you get to the street and people will begin to feel the impact of these various intervention efforts of the federal government before you could see that poverty is already going down gradually. But as we have it currently, I think the reverse is actually the case, because if you feel the pulse of an average Nigerian, even people they are lose their means of livelihood on a regular basis, this has to also do with the level of poverty and the rising level of economic hardship in the land. So what the government actually need to do is to invest more in human capital development, ensure that the enabling environment is created for competitive business, also ensure that you empower people, because one of the best way to actually lift people out of poverty is to empower them, not even pumping billions of naira even into the economy. There are some people that all they need to do in retail businesses, some petty businesses is just like 50,000 naira, and that will also help to live maybe entire family household out of poverty. So the government actually need to intensify their effort through the National Economic Council, rather than just bringing out figure and telling us what the government have done, because no matter the effort that the government will claim they are putting, people want to juxtapose between the reality.
They should also let us know what they are doing about it. All right, so that is also very much in order. However, recently we got news of Nigerian girls who were arrested in Ghana for prostitution, and also in France. The boys are moving out, the girls are going into prostitution across the world. What does this portend for the youth?
Of course, it portends a very grave danger, and that has a very bad implication for the country too. Because if this youth, they are supposed to be the core aspect of the civil service of the country, they are so energetic, they have the aid, they have the vigor, they have the vibrancy, they are supposed to contribute meaningfully to the GDP of a country. Now that this youth will mismanage them, most time government will deliberately take action that will shut down schools, and that will bring number of people out of school. And at the end of the social vices, like what you have just said, the issue of migration is on the alarm as we talk about it now. Because if care is not taken, what that means is that you are losing the productive aspect of your value system to the outside world. Most of them, they get into outside country, they take into drug and they get jail. The ladies will be subjected to hard labor and prostitution. So all of this, when government really need to do that, what have you been able to do at home? If you don't want people to go in form of migrating out of the country, you must create a template that will make the Nigerian system work, that will make the Nigerian economy work. Like I said, the government may not be able to provide job. That is not done anywhere in the world, that the government will provide all the job that is needed. But the government will drive the private sector and also ensure that an enabling environment is created. For example, we have a lot of people that I said earlier that have lost their job. Look at the issue of depression, look at the issue of frustration that is making people to jump into the lagoon, or what what have you. There are a lot of people, they may not be able to do that, but a lot of poverty, a lot of people are still poverty stricken, even in their various domains, and are living below $1 per day. That is as bad as that. So people want to make ends meet by all means, and that is why the crime wave, the rate of crime and criminality, even within the country, is increasing. An average Nigeria that will have any opportunity want to jet out of the country, thinking that the pasture is actually greener somewhere. So I think it's a claricon on the government, rather than just giving us, this is what we intend to do. The government must take practical steps to actually explain to Nigeria the intervention that they have put in place in recent past, maybe the last 3 years, and what are the specific results this intervention fund have been able to achieve vis-a-vis the cooperative average life of the people. These are issues that we need to actually deal with.
And while we deliberate on issues like this day in, day out, the National Assembly, they refuse to reconvene. They are still somewhere, they're on leave, Austin Adumo, and we have pressing issues in the country.
Yeah, the National Assembly, of course, they are playing politics. If you look at it, the issue of politics has taken the front burner. The issue of economy is taking the back seat. That is why the CBN governor had to even cry out and say, the federal government, you need to implement certain aspects of the 2018 budget. Because if that is not done, particularly capital component of that budget, it means that a lot of things will suffer. If money is not injected into the economy, we are likely to slip back into recession, because we are already having, though not negative, but a downward slide in contraction in terms of GDP growth. So if care is not taken, anything could happen to our economy again. So we are appealing to the ruling class. If you look at the National Assembly, they are paying politics. They want to have their primaries and ensure. I also understand that fact. It won't be very good for them to have reconvened either Tuesday, and at the end of the day, they won't be there. They won't be on ground to attend to national issue. So say by next week, every primary will have been concluded according to INEC activity for 2019 election. The timetable October 7, every activity is rounded off and campaign officially will be kickstarted. So let the National Assembly be patriotic enough to come back and do what we call the unfinished business. They must attend to pressing need of Nigeria. We must allow the economic recovery and growth plan project of the federal government to actually work and add value to the life of an average Nigerian.
This year's Independence Day celebration seems to have overshadowed the spate of attacks in Jos Plateau. Let's talk about this story from the Punch newspaper. About 19 persons, including a family of 7, have been confirmed dead after a gunman suspected to be Fulani headsman launched an attack on Ariri community in Basa local government area of Plateau State. Eyewitnesses said 4 others were seriously injured after the attack, which took place on Wednesday night in the community. Among the victims of the attack, which took place at about 11:30, include toddlers, women, young children, and local farmers.
Well, I think the federal government need to coordinate their security activity to ensure that Nigerians become very safe in terms of security issue. The activity in Jos is particularly disturbing, because if you look at some of this issue, you discover that tension is in that state and a lot of people have been murdered. We have a lot of unreported cases of people that have been murdered in cold blood. Some domains were invaded even at night and people were slaughtered. If you look at this year's independence anniversary celebration, for example, from 2010, this is the first time we'll be able to do that openly at the Eagle Square. That is a form of security kudos to the federal government, because they have done excellently well as far as that is concerned, ensuring that we are not supposed to hold the independent parade at the backyard of Asoro. Let's go to the Eagle Square, which is the original venue of that particular event. Having achieved that on one hand, I think we also need to strengthen other areas of security issue to ensure that we make this place safe for people. Who are the people carrying out this attack? What are the various security checks that have been put in place by the federal government to also ensure that we arrest some of this situation? Most of the issue and how worrisome it is, you discover that we must have gotten intelligence that some of these attacks are likely to happen, and at the end of the day, before our very eyes, they still continue to happen. So I want the federal government to coordinate various security activities. Of course, the federal government, the presidency has also come out to issue a very strong statement as far as that is concerned. But above issuing statement and sending condolences, I think we also need to be more proactive to also ensure that we protect the life of the citizens of this country, because the primary responsibility of any government is to first of all secure the life of the people, then we now talk about infrastructural development or what have you. So for me, I think the federal government really need to do more. The Nigerian security as the president constituted is overstretched, but we really need to do more to ensure that Nigeria is safer. Don't forget, we are also in pre-election. Election activity is kickstarting gradually. So a lot of all this will also heighten security because the do or die politics mentality of our politicians is also there. So that will also affect the security situation. And the security situation is already porous and not too good for now. So the federal government really need to work well. And we're also calling on critical stakeholder informant within the locality to also make information readily available to security agents to be able to do their work and better secure the people.
All right. The National Judicial Council, NJC, has recommended the dismissal of Justices R.N. Ofili Ejumogobia of the Federal High Court and James T. Agbadu Fisham of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria. The sanction followed findings on alleged misconduct contained in a petition by the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mr. Ibrahim Mago. In the petition, Mago alleged Ofili Ejumogobia was a director, chief executive officer, and sole signatory to Nigel and Coal Company, contrary to the Code of Conduct for Judicial Officers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Well, judicial officers are supposed to live above board and also maintain a high level of integrity in the discharge of their duty. But we have found out that the reverse is the case as far as the Nigerian case is concerned. Two justices were recommended for outright dismissal. The approval is lies within Mr. President. He want to give approval to that to take effect. About 26 others have been recommended for probe because their duty primarily. Look at the case of Ejumogobia, for example. She registered a company. She's the sole signatory as far as that company is concerned, and we have evidences that government parastatals, officials, and high-profile politicians in Nigeria, they wire fund into that particular account, and this woman is the sole signatory, and she's a judge. And we also have a reported case of a senior advocate of Nigeria who is having a case pending before that particular court and had to transfer huge amount of money to that particular account. So how can you explain that? You can't watch yourself very clean for that. There was a particular case I was privy to of a particular oil giant in Nigeria, oil company in Nigeria, that the MD of that oil company had to wire fund to this judge account, and that EFCC had to investigate, and the judge was also detained for that too. The MD of that particular oil company was also detained. That if this man is having a case, that is just a parting gift, about 100 million naira, a parting gift, and they just say, "Oh, I can own any amount of money, I use it to buy a house." And the case of the other man, he said he lost his mother, and people began to donate money, even politicians, even people that have cases to answer, that the cases are pending in the court. How do you now serve justice effectively and be fair in the service of that particular justice? Because when you, of course, if you are taking something, even the Holy Book said, "Give blinds the eyes of the king." So the judges are the king as far as this issue is concerned, and in a way they are supposed to live above board. What I expect the federal government to do now and the judiciary is that let there be sanity from within the process. Because if you want to fight corruption, for example, and these are judges that sit on other people's case, it looks as if you are sitting on the destiny of others, and you must come out very clean and also be able to live above board. That is the situation there. It's quite unfortunate that these people they put in a very long service here, and at the end of the day they soiled their hands with just the issue of money. In those days, judges are not supposed, they are not meant to be very rich people, very wealthy people, but there are people that you could call that these are people who are reference point. These are people who will serve as a memorial. These are people who will be able to preserve the sanctity of their office, the oath of their office. Absolutely. I think it's quite unfortunate. That will also serve as deterrent to other judges that are very corrupt within the system.
We have over 7.7 million displaced persons in Nigeria.
Yes, we have that number. If you look at that number, see, the federal government is not understanding a particular thing. If we have a number so high of eternally displaced people, when we are not passing through civil war. Of course, there's this statistic that came out that even during the civil war, we have never had it so bad. Even in Nigeria, the number of internally displaced people, you know what that means. People are being sacked on a daily basis as a result of renewed attack by Boko Haram violence, as a result of Iceman attack that have become escalated.
And natural disaster.
Disaster as a result of flooding. There was another report today that about 13.2 million out-of-school children in Nigeria. Do you know the implication of that? The number of IDP is increasing. There is also what we call IDC, internally displaced children. People are giving birth and they are being displaced. Is it somebody who is running a task that the child will go to school? These are issues that we must ask ourselves, fundamental issue. So what the federal government need to do, what have we been able to do to mitigate against this flooding disaster that we have in Nigeria? Some of them are perennial, some of them are annual. These are issues. We had it last year. We had it in 2012. We are having a reoccurrence this year. Does it mean that the government is not alert at all? Does it mean that the government is not proactive and alive to their responsibility at all? What do we need to do? I think the government has to lead from the front. Of course, we also have the role of individuals who are blocking drains, who are trying to block water, and you know there's this popular saying that water will always find its way. So rather than spending billions of naira on emergency management, emergency response, I think we really need to do the needful. But the figure actually is worrisome, because if you look at the security challenges that have put people out of their home, they become internally displaced, and you also look at the issue of flooding, making people, render people homeless and destroying their means of livelihood, for example. And the Minister of Agriculture also came out to hint that if care is not taken, there's likely to be rice shortage, particularly in 2019, because flood has actually washed away some farmland and other crops that are ready for harvest. So these are challenges that we have on our hand, but the federal government must be alive to it and ensure, how do we respond to this emergency situation? What is the intervention level of the federal government? Apart from intervention level, what measure have we been able to put on ground to ensure that some of these things do not reoccur? Are we going to say that the rain should not fall? The rain will continue to fall, but we must put strategy in place, both from the government side, the private sector, and the individual, to also ensure that when the issue of flooding happens, or when there are heavy rain, we do the needful to actually prevent the issue of flooding. So the figure is disturbing. I think we really need to work
and the government has to do something about it. Let's talk about this story from the Vanguard. Ohanes, a youth threatened to sink PDP over Igbo vice president, but that will be when we return from this commercial break. Do join us again.
It's a lie. That's your graduation dress? Mine is so faded, I can't even wear it. How come yours looks so new? Kano detergent, girls.
Care for your precious fabrics with Kano detergent and bar soap. It's gentle on colors and trusted by Daviva. Kano, colors look brighter for longer.
They colors, small fish in a big pond, but lights, camera, action, and we go beyond. This is our time, we on MTN and Pulse. No, we refuse, so now we can wave our banner. Yo, get ready for what we have to offer from Texas Sports. We got it on M-Pulse. I say science. We got it on M-Pulse. Silence again. We got it on M-Pulse. And what? Yo, M-Pulse. The stage is set, so let's own it. They say be this, they say be that, but all we want to be is just us, man. Back. They say we're way too small for the booth.
M-Pulse.
We say the stage ain't big enough for our moves.
M-Pulse. Let's go.
With M-Pulse, we've got the right stage to be even more than you think we can be. Than you think we can be.
MTN M-Pulse.
They say we're way too small for the booths.
M-Pulse.
We say the stage ain't big enough for our moves.
M-Pulse. Let's go.
With M-Pulse, we've got the right
Buy an MTN SIM and dial *344# to unleash their potential. MTN M-Pulse. Learn, play, shine everywhere you go.
32 FM, 94.9.
All right, welcome back. It's still the paper review on 32 FM 94.9. Ohanese youths threatened to sink PDP over Igbo VP. We take that, and also sprayed Naira and go to jail from party. Abdullahi.
Yes, the CBN has come up with innovation of a mobile call to actually sanction some of this excessive use of naira. Some of us, if we have the greenback, we have to put it deep into our wallet.
Anything like excessive use of naira?
Abuse of the naira, spraying naira. You see,
we don't abuse. I feel like African culture and tradition, like
it's
weddings,
African
for
culture.
example.
We mutilate the naira. We should reduce the level at which.
I feel like there's a finesse to it.
We actually do that. The way we abuse the naira, we do not abuse even other currency. We do not have equal value with Nigerian currency, who has lower value. So we should preserve the naira, for example. So the CBN is coming out with that innovation. I think it's a welcome development. They have said that over and over again. How that will now work effectively. Maybe I do party within my compound, and if some people decide to spray money, and you will arrest them, because according to the report, it said they will from the party go to jail. They are not supposed to go back to their home. How CBN intend to do that, I do not really know. But I think we should check excessive abuse of the naira to preserve the naira.
Don't you think it's pride in the Nigerian currency that people can take pride in using the money for such?
Instead of
not pride in Nigerian money.
Instead of spraying money at parties, you can put it in an envelope and pass it to the celebrator.
Where is the fun in that, though?
There is no fun. If you go there, of course, you can go there, put something in the envelope. Most of the time, when you spray people, they may not even know who is spraying them, because at that time, they may not really be seeing everything that is happening. So the best approach is to actually put the money in the envelope, present it to the person. You can even address it.
And the musician who is, sing praising, a person,
and they like to spray.
that will also reduce that. You know, this singing of praises of people have actually exposed some people to a lot of danger financially, and that has also bring some people down. Let's quickly go to the Ogunade
story.
And also to let the listener know that the lines are open now for you to join the conversation. 0705 5949, 0809 7949, 0906 2000. 949.
Yes, I think the PDP really need to watch it very well, because some people had an issue before the PDP convention that produced the national leadership of the party. They decided to alter the power sharing formula of that particular party, and it's a very dynamic situation as far as that party is concerned now. So they have to handle it very well. If the slot goes to the southeast eastern part of the country, it means the southwest has been shut out. If it comes to the southwest, it means the southeastern part of the country has been shut out. For example, they said there is this permutation within the PDP to bring to zone it to the southwest. And for now, we have a incumbent vice president from the southwest. Some people will prefer that a better turned. All of this will definitely affect the chances of election.
All right, let's take this message. Comrade Femi Dada, a regular and consistent writer to your authoritative program, clocks 45 years today. Thanksgiving on Sunday. Congratulations to you. Happy birthday, Comrade Femi Dada from the team here. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Adi calling from Monia.
Please go on.
Yes, you see, the executive, legislator, and the judiciary, they have failed this country. To me, what I just said about some judges that are dismissed is even a stain on the judiciary. The situation where the judiciary, you go to their houses and millions of naira are stuck in their houses. What is the legacy that they are even leaving behind? The legacy that the likes of Ganifa Rahim of blessed memory put down. To me, the three arms of government, they have failed the country. The situation where the people will be dying, where attention will be focused on where election is going to take place. Thousands of security personnel, but people are dying. No attention is paid. To me, the judiciary, the executive, and they have failed this country. That is just my take this morning.
All right, thank you for calling us. We still have some fantastic judges around who are incorruptible. Well, we'll definitely have bad egg from time to time.
Of course, we have bad egg, but of course, if such issue happen, we should condemn it, and it's not really worth it at all.
All right, PDP should watch out for wolves in their mix during their convention, or else. This is Tony Don Pedro. Good morning, Austin is awesome, okay? VP should do something about the contract staff. Recently, contract staff in some company in Ibadan protested. Company are paying the rate of 3,000 naira per day, and contractors are paying their staff 925 naira per day. This is killing another reason for poverty in the land. Olutayo, GBK. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Olutayo from Oyo.
Please go on.
Now, we can see by the time initially when Buhari and the FCC went and ransacked some judges out, people were saying this is military ideology, they are not this and that. And don't forget, this has also confirmed that these are the people creating problems. And some years ago, don't forget, Buhari also said, judges have their price to negotiate our judgment. Is this not confirming it? Where are we going? God help Nigeria.
Okay, thank you for calling.
Nigeria.
Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, please go on.
Concerning the recommendation of NDC on the series of two judges, I've been advocating that the policies and the power given to NDC should be reviewed. What I have to say so is that so that NDC could have the power to dismiss any corrupt judges as we, so that there won't be a need for them to have to seek a recommendation or any arm of government before they can carry out sanity in that arm of the government. Now, concerning the excessive killing of the suspected Fulani men, this is the area I have problem with the current administration and the body language of the president to these suspected Fulani men. I don't know why the authority concerned should not, handle these suspected criminals and defend the law of the law. That is important because some people think that I stand against this president. No.
Thank you, comrade.
I want them to take the justice day concerning these suspected criminals.
Okay, thank you.
And I expect to mention about the International Day by UNESCO.
Oh,
thank you.
Okay, thank you for calling. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you, Prince Adi.
On the issue of Nigeria, according to Nigeria is Africa's biggest trouble or giant trouble. This is what we are saying about this administration. I don't know how to put it, whether they lack wisdom or they lack knowledge to rule this country. Look at everything have went out of hand. Look at how they're doing their election. Just ordinary primary election. Straight to for candidates emerging from each primaries. This is not how to rule country. Our president said that he was going to fight corruption. Where is the corruption that he is fighting today? Look at how things are going on. Everything is out of hand.
All right.
People are killing everywhere.
Thank you.
19 people killing shots.
Thank you. Your point is made already, taken. If these politicians who go abroad as they do and come back to implement what they have seen abroad, the nation called Nigeria would be better off. But the reverse is the case. Let them do the needful and work the talk. Let the VP work his talk. When are we going to hear a sigh of relief from these people? Tony Monat, we'll go to message. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Okay, let's see. You can try to call us back 0705 5000 949 and 0809 7000 949 for your text messages only 0906 2000 949. Hello, good morning. Hello, can you step away from your radio, please?
The situation in this country today is war in slums. And I discovered that the present government is not concerned about the welfare of the citizens. I say the quality of life that is being lived today, we are below all the standard expected of the citizens in the country. And I wish the government should do something urgently to avoid revolution. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for calling. 0705 5000 949 and 0809 7000 949. Let's see if we can take 2 or 3 more calls before we call it a day on the show. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good afternoon, my name.
Right.
The issue of killing in Nigeria is very worrisome. And then begin to question, do we have government in place? How many of these people have been arrested? And number 2, the issue of poverty. We don't need a soothsayer to tell us that there is poverty in the land. Everywhere. I believe the government is responsible enough to take a survey, and then they will really know that there is poverty in Nigeria. So the government should wake up and do the needful and see what they can do to start this situation. If about 13 million children is out of school, we are preparing for future problems in this country. So government should do something. God bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria.
Democracy is all about government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But Nigeria's case is government of the sitting government and godfathers. Why? May God rescue Nigeria. Yakubu Mohammed, we got a message. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning,
sir.
From Shukari.
All right, let's have your contribution.
If we were to go by northern, western, and eastern region, if PDP president comes from the north and chairman from the east, then the vice president should come from the west, now southwest, while southeast can go for the president of the Senate. And among the presidential aspirants of the PDP, in terms of employment in the private sector, the tribalization nation, and in terms of passion to become the president to restructure this country, I think Atiku has an edge. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for calling. Okay, you're going to be our last caller for today on the show. Thank you for calling and sharing your thoughts on the paper review today. Austin, you have final words that you'd like to share?
Yes, I think the PDP National Convention, they should watch it very well, because Nigeria are actually expecting that a credible alternative will be produced by the PDP. The last caller just said the eastern part of the country produced the national chairman. It was the south of the country. That was the mistake they make to, first of all, have microzone to southwest, the national chairmanship slot, and later throw it open. Which Executive came into the contest barely a month or 2 months into that particular issue.
To go. And I also feel that Wole Ladipo actually maybe works for a particular politician. Well, I hope we don't get sanctioned on the platform someday. Let the time come, let them come make payment, and they can do their campaign for themselves. But let Nigerians to decide come 2019. Thank you, Austin Idumu, who is a public affairs analyst, for coming on the paper review today.
Thank you.
My name is Olutayo Ogunade. Thank you for your time with us. We got your message, Paul. Thank you for your message, Paul. Abdullahi.
Well, of course, this is where we close on the show today. I am Abdullahi Fawale. Pastor Kijaja comes up next with Equip and Descend. Have a great day.